I'm Chandra. I am 34 years old. I was born and raised in Anaconda, Montana. I am the oldest of 3 girls. My sister Rachel was a year and 3 months younger than me. Then there's Dallas of the family. She's the baby. She's 9 years younger than me. I have 2 of the most amazing parents, Diane and Rich Sally. My family is one of my greatest pillars of support. My sister Rachel and I were born with cystic fibrosis, CF for short. CF is a progressive, complex, inherited life-threatening disorder that causes digestive fluids, sweat, and mucus to become thick and sticky, blocking up airways, damaging the lungs, digestive system, and other organs of the body. With progression comes a decline in the quality of life, along with additional treatments, antibiotics, hospital visits that can last 2 weeks or more, multiple times a year. As time goes on, the disease worsens. It makes day-to-day activities more difficult to do because our lungs do not function properly and slowly deteriorate, where in most cases, a lung transplant is necessary to prolong life. As of now, there is no cure. Decades ago, before all the advanced technology and treatments, with CF, we were not expected to live past early childhood. But thanks to all the research and advances, the life expectancy and quality of life for those with CF continues to grow substantially. Living with a disability has been my entire life. It is all that I have ever known. Some of us like to use humor. Some of us get angry. Some are cynical. But what is for sure is that we are fighting a battle we never signed up for. To put it simply, people just do not understand what our lives are really like. It is nearly impossible to do so unless you are living that life. So tonight, I'm going to share what it is I wish people knew about living with a chronic illness, the experiences, the emotions, the lessons, what the disease stole from me, and what it gave back. When my sister and I were younger, all the way up through high school, it really didn't affect us too much. To us, we were like anybody our own age. We both played vital roles in school. My sister Rachel was a cheerleader, and I participated in a variety of sports. Taking oral enzymes at every meal to help digest food, an obscene number of vitamins that could be breakfast on its own, nightly chest therapy, breathing treatments through a nebulizer, and doctor visits every 3 months seemed completely normal to us. And if I'm being brutally honest, my sister and I secretly loved those doctor's appointments. Even though we had to get up 3 hours to make the drive to Great Falls, it meant a day out of school, and it meant who can blow out the most candles during our pulmonary lung function test. A PFT is a test that assesses how well the lungs work by measuring the lung volume, capacity, and rate of flow. The doctors measure this by having us take a deep breath in and blowing out as hard as we can for as long as we can into this mouthpiece that is attached to the computer. On the computer, on the screen, there is a cake, and there was 10 candles. And it was our goal to see how many candles we could blow out. My sister and I could not wait to see who can blow out the most candles. I recall the very moment I realized that my life was very different from everybody else. And it was gonna continue to deviate from the norm. I was a junior in high school. I was going to a wrestling match. I was watching a boy I was dating at the time. One of his teammates came and he had sat next to me. And he had asked me, "Aren't you sick or something?" I was really confused because it was a super random question. So I had asked him, "What do you mean?" It dawned on me when his response was, "Aren't you going to die?" I sat there for a couple minutes, really shocked and stunned, trying to hold back tears before I had responded. I responded with, "I do not know when I'm going to die. I don't know when you're going to die, but eventually we all will die." The rest of that match, I sat there playing that conversation over and over and over in my head. I was embarrassed. And for the first time, I was upset, I was frustrated, and I was unsure what was happening next. I was graduating high school in a year. I was going off to college, living in the dorms, meeting new people. And was I ready to truly be myself? Was I ready to open up with my CF? I sure the heck didn't want to go through another uncomfortable conversation I had just went through. So from that point forward, I withdrawn from it. I didn't withdraw completely, but I hid my CF. It wasn't very difficult to do because looking in from the outside, I looked completely normal. It wasn't until my senior year in college, CF slowly but surely came creeping and nosing into parts of my life that had previously been untouched. I was having my first CF exacerbation. Exacerbations usually require hospitalization. Round-the-clock IVs, airway clearance, extra nutrients and calories to help fight the infection. The doctors called them tune-ups. A couple days ago, I was looking back through some stuff to find some pictures for the slideshow. I had found this book that the doctors gave my sister and I when we were younger to explain CF so we would be able to understand it better. They compared the tune-ups to taking your car to the mechanic, say like an oil change. Who would have thought as an adult my body would need tune-ups? Turns out it was way more frequent than my car and way more expensive. As life went on, the disease continued barging in on both mine and my sister's lives. Those doctor appointments that we enjoyed going to and blowing out those candles became something we hated. Watching our lung function slowly decline over time was devastating. But there was one thing that I was thankful for. I had my sister to go along on this journey with. Regardless all the challenges we faced, we did our best to keep a positive attitude. My sister and I fed off each other. When she was down, I built her up. When I was down, she built me up. It was an exchange of hope and strength. Having that irreplaceable bond made days tolerable. In 2013, both my sister's lungs collapsed. She declined very rapidly, and she was placed on the lung transplant list. She had a tube feeding surgically placed, and she was on oxygen 24/7. The hospital and healthcare professionals became her second home and family. But no matter the situation, Rachel was always smiling. She never wanted anyone to see that fear, but I could see it. And I felt hopeless because there was nothing that I could do. I felt like it was now my responsibility to carry not only my burdens, but hers, and be the strongest I could for her and my family. When the doctors asked her what was one thing she wanted to do if she got her lung transplant, she named two things. One of them was to get a full night's sleep, and the other one was to have a good long laugh. Two things that seem so trivial to anybody else, but so huge to us. She got her lung transplant in 2014 to go on to live a year that would not be possible if it was not for the transplant. She got her wish. She was able to finally sleep a full night's sleep, and she got her good long laugh. Before she passed away, in December of 2015, her life had ended, and my future unfolded in front of my eyes from the sidelines. The disease was gaining on me. I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis-related diabetes. I was in and out of the hospital on IV antibiotics, inpatient and outpatient, so often that I got a power port placed for the infusions. My lungs were declining rapidly. I could barely go 5 minutes without a coughing fit. I kept losing weight, and for the first time required oxygen for an everyday task called breathing. It was like running a 400-meter sprint, and you're at the end of it, and you're just trying to catch your breath, but you cannot find enough air to catch your breath. That's what it felt like to just brush my teeth. Each hospital stay marked a new baseline before another decline. I would see things on social media, how to improve your mornings, such as make your bed. And I thought to myself, that looks really nice. I think I might try that. But then I remembered, I already spent every morning in coughing fits, taking all the energy I had just to get up and get going for the day. Who was I kidding? There was no way I was doing that. Each step it took in its progression, CF was chipping away at my life. Each birthday was a grim reminder of what I had lost over time. It was marked by less things I was physically able to do. Things I used to love to do, running, camping, sitting around the fire roasting s'mores with my family and friends, to everyday tasks like making the bed. A variety of aspects changed my life from physically, emotionally, mentally, friendships, and relationships. Having an incurable illness is a heavy burden to bear, but when you're born with it, you have no option. Putting it on another person is different. That is optional. It can be impossible to justify the exposure to anyone that level of lifelong pain, especially the hand you love to hold. Having a chronic illness is a vulnerable experience, not just for the patient. It affects everyone involved. It accelerates everything. It makes daily life even more complicated. Planning dates that are not physically taxing, having to cancel plans last minute, or having to rely on your significant other for daily chores. It made the future even less promising than it already was. The bleak reality of my situation was sorely evident and was becoming more realistic than ever. I was going to die much sooner than my loved ones. The intense reality flashing its lights made it tempting to hold things even more, feel guilty for loving, and I pushed those people out. Without knowing, my life was intermittently put on hold, but this did not mean other people's lives needed to be as well. December 17, 2019, Trikafta, a combination of 3 modulators that target the defective protein that causes CF, was approved, and it covered my mutation. Just months before that, I was told I was in the end stages and I needed to start planning a lung transplant. I can still remember how silent the room went. You can hear a pin drop. I couldn't even look up at my parents. I could not bear to see their faces. I felt completely empty and sad. I wasn't sad for me though. I was sad for them and my sister. I felt like I was letting them down. After all the heavy burdens, sadness, and hurricanes we went through, it was hard to be excited. I was so used to bad news after bad news. No one could know if or what Trikafta would allow us to do prior to taking it. All of us, no matter our health, must learn to navigate hope and statistics with fear and open ourselves up to possible disappointment. Not responding, horrible side effects. Was I willing to risk hope in my body for the unknown better? Well, my life wasn't getting any better, so I had nothing to lose. 3 months later, I had a follow-up. On the way there, I shared with my sister Dallas how nervous I was. And she had said to me, "Don't worry about the numbers. Worry about how you feel." And she was right. I went up from 35% to 70% lung function, 102 pounds to 117 pounds. I had never imagined I would be back doing all the things I enjoyed and seeing numbers I haven't seen since 2014. That appointment we left in happy tears, not sad. Dallas stepped into the role Rachel once filled, and we created our own special bond. Growing up with 2 siblings that had CF, Dallas pursued her career in respiratory therapy, and she is now a respiratory therapist. I am so thankful she was able to be there with me and share that excitement. If it were not for Trikafta being approved when it did, I would not be standing here today sharing my story with you. COVID-19 pandemic was just beginning. I would have never gotten that set of lungs. I would have died. Trikafta has given me another fighting chance and a reason to say yes to hope. I really was ready to give up. In retrospect, through my journey, I have realized that accepting everything happens for a reason is not the same as writing off or invalidating our pain and experiences. It is not saying it was simply meant to be, but instead it challenges us to rise above those lowest points. We all know how to maneuver our way through sunshine and rainbows, but what happens when the storm rolls in and we must muddle our way through the pain and the bad? Pain is a product of the world that we live in. The thing about pain is it demands to be felt. It can either drown us or teach us to swim. Hindsight, whether I thought or believed it at the time, my experience was teaching me how to master and approach life's uphill battles. That we cannot control what happens, but the one thing we do have control over is our attitude and how we choose to handle the situation. That there is good in every situation, even the bad. You must be able to find it. With that mindset and strong foundation of support from friends and family, you will find those silver linings, and when you do, embrace them. Looking back, I had many silver linings in place and hiding that I had to discover. Silver linings such as quality time spent with my loved ones, even if it was in the hospital. There was not a day I spent alone. Either my mom, my dad, my sister, or my friends were there with me. The memories created during those days that did brighten my days, I will forever hold on to and cherish, such as my good friend Ross showing up early in the morning with donuts and coffee, motivating me to get up and take walks to get out of the room. Did you know that during hospital stays, it's a requirement patients receive a shot to prevent blood clotting? And these shots really hurt. This was just an incentive everyone used against me, so I actually would get my butt up and out and going. And I was okay with that. All the laughs and jokes, like naming my IV pole stand. One memory that really stands out, Dallas had went and ordered some food from Fred Mesquite. She brought it back to the hospital. There was a dinner roll rolled in tinfoil, and it fell off the hospital bedstand and it rolled across the hospital floor. I had looked at her and I had said, "The roll rolled away." We sat there and we laughed for minutes over something that really is not even that funny. At the end of last year, I had my 2-year follow-up being on Trikafta. My lungs are staying strong and my weight is steady. Every day is a good day to smile. That day was a great day to smile. I really do live my life day to day. I feel life should be about quality, not quantity. Just like the very special bonds CF has helped me create with amazing friends and family. I will not change anything about myself or my life. I am thankful for all the obstacles I have endured because without them, I would not be who I am today. I am beyond blessed. Did I do okay?